Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We have a big one for you. We are about to witness animal cruelty in the video game because it's a goat fight. That's right. We've got Onside Gaming's MARU in the top right side of the map. Prospective goat number 1. And, of course, prospective goat number 2. The Finnish phenom himself. Down here in the bottom left side, it's Basilisk's Serral. And Serral's going for that famous 15 hatch opening. I can't wait to see how this one goes out because Serral has been doing his really cool 2-base roach openings. He's been playing a lot of like roach infesta with tunneling claw shenanigans all over the shop. And I can't wait to see what Maru's response is. Maru's playing 2-Rex Reaper to start off. I can't wait to see how their builds match up because I feel there's so much to be figured out here. Like Clem somehow weathered the storm against Serral. I'm still not quite sure how. He managed to do that in some of his recent series where he's like kind of hung on against the tunneling claw roaches and dealt with them. But we saw in the group stage between these two that Serral did dispatch of MARU. Game 1 was more of an even macro game. I thought MARU had a slight upper hand at a few points, but Serral was a little bit too clean at whenever MARU overextended with a push. It wasn't the fact that Serral defended there. It was the fact that Serral would immediately counterattack, kill a base, and then pull back at the right time. That's what really punished MARU in the group stage match. And of course, the second map was a little bit more of a build order loss. It was this 15-15 into 2-base roach versus this 2-barracks opening. And Serral just killed him with a roach shove. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think MARU will be much more careful in this matchup where he'll get a siege tank out as needed. And he should be completely fine. CV there is going to be going for the command center. It's a pretty standard follow-up. Interestingly, Serral hasn't actually scouted straight to the natural. For those who don't know, Serral has a roughly, I think it's over 75% win rate versus MARU now. Somewhere about 75%. It's a very high win rate. So Serral is kind of the one player who's historically had MARU's number. Defenders of MARU will say a lot of those results are online. Only a few of them have been at LAN. There was like the best of 1 GSL versus the world in 2018. Best of 3 series, I believe. Actually, no, they didn't play a best of 3 in Sweden, did they? It was Rainer who managed to defeat MARU in the very first series. Literally the opening series of the tournament in the kind of play-in stage. Reaper's coming forward right now. So there'll always be an excuse ready. Don't worry, guys. Whichever player you're a fan of, you'll always have an excuse. Oh, the 2 Lings sneaking across. Get in before the add-ons are up. This is actually a great disruption. MARU's command center being quite delayed by this. Now, Serral not scouting. Yeah, he's got to go up there. I'm like, surely you got to see 3rd command center into factory. Or actually, that was factory into command center. So you know it's going to be kind of like a 2-1-1, a double drop sort of play. Or a Hellion Lib. The Cure build has been pretty popular recently, where you build a reactor and a starport and start making Hellions and Liberators. Roach Warren's on the way, the Lair in the 2nd and 3rd gas. We know this build order well. I'm really curious to see what MARU's adjustment is. I would not bother building any Hellions. If I was him, I would not bother with Hellions. A Liberator's okay, but generally, I think it's going to... Okay, yeah, he's going to go Banshees for safety. That makes sense. It's a 2-base Roach build. Banshees are going to stop Roaches from killing you. This makes sense for MARU. Very smart adjustment. He's going to get a drone there. He's going to get a second one as well. Oh, he doesn't focus it. There we go. 3 drones. Not bad. Does lose 2 of the Reapers. One of them gets out, but I think that's an okay trade for him. He kind of scouts. He sees the Lair. He doesn't see a Spire. He doesn't know for sure what's up, but I think he can infer from previous games' experience exactly what's happening. So we got a free speech warrior in the chat complaining about their comment getting deleted. Yeah. Take a deep breath, guys. Well, that guy. Everyone else, you guys can keep telling him to shut up. That's fine. If you guys are ever watching me cast a game live, it doesn't matter if you say this series is really terrible, it's really good, this guy wins, that guy wins. These are all some form of spoilers. We often just clear those messages just so that we don't spoil people, give them any expectations. StarCraft's more fun to watch without expectations. It's the same philosophy I have with watching movies. I don't like to watch trailers or anything like that. I like to go in blind so I can appreciate it for what it is rather than some weird expectation of what I think it's going to be. Anyways, great Roach Queen push coming in right now. Banshee's going to come forward. Mods have my full support to ban people when needed. This is a really cool push. The thing is, I don't think Serral's going to keep committing, guys. I think this is a fake out, right? Is it? He's still building roaches. Okay, 5 more drones away. So this is a commitment of 11 roaches, 2 queens. This is very scary. MARU doesn't have cloak, so the queens are going to push him back. He's dropping creep as he goes with the queens. Dude, this is actually such a cool push. This is such a cool push because even if it doesn't do anything, if he can just kill a barracks or force them to lift, he can just drop creep tumors and drone up behind it. Dude, this is a beautiful push for Serral. He's getting creep all over the map with this, and he's droning up his third. It's not even that big a commitment, and he's forcing such a big response out of MARU. MARU thought a single safety Banshee would be fantastic. Serral counters it by walking a few queens across the map with creep. And even if he had Banshee Cloak and 2 Banshees, he'd just make an Overseer and bring a 3rd queen, and he'd still be able to do really well. Yeah, he's got an Overseer here. Oh, MARU pinned on 2 base now, and look at this. You just spread creep here. Look at this. He's just walking around. He's not even doing it with Overlord speed. For those who don't know, Eric actually came up with this version of the build where he would do a push with 5 roaches and a few queens and a Dropper-Lord. And if they were sieged up with bunkers, he would just spread creep like this. I did a video about this a while ago on my my main YouTube channel, and I remember Serral immediately started doing a version of that, but he made it better because he delays the 3rd base longer to hit a very sharp, scary roach queen timing. But then he's just like, oh, you're really safe? Drone up, spread creep, and how many scans MARU's going to have to use? I feel like you almost need to go at Raven. Like, I don't even know if it's worth scanning, because look at these creep tumors. They're spreading everywhere. His own creep spreading from his side of the map. He's got a 4th on the way, 1-1 upgrades. He's got Ling Speed and a Baneling Nest, and a Hive already started pre-7 minutes. Think about the threat that he has exerted on MARU with that Roach Queen pressure, and that he is up at 66 drones with a Hive started before 7 minutes. This is a disgusting build. Like, it actually looks kind of broken. There's a Terran voice in the back of my head, a little Terran devil on my shoulder going, broken, broken, Zerg Ember, broken, broken, Zerg Ember. You know, like, there's a part of my brain that posts on the Battle.net forums frequently, and he's like, unfair, unfair, It's actually gross. I mean, it's obviously MARU thought this was a bigger commitment than it was. And that Banshee build and that 2 barracks opening, I really think this 15-15 is punishing the 2 racks opening. The Marine drop in the main is going to find a few roaches outnumbered there. Good pick up here. Gets a drone, 2nd drone, a couple more roaches, and he should leave now. Gets an Overlord on the way out. Good value for MARU, really good value. His 3rd is now landed. He's got a 4th command center on the way. He's keeping his tanks in a very safe position so he can't be broken. And that armory's coming up, so his 2-2 shouldn't be too delayed. So MARU's getting all the things he needs to continue this game. He's going to go for a few more barracks as well after that 4th command center. That'll take him up to 7 barracks. Oh, Marines are staying to fight a little bit longer, but that's okay. Did get rid of one of the roaches. Viper's on the way, as well as a 3rd Evo chamber. Serral is going to play triple Evo chamber StarCraft. I love it. That makes me very excited, guys. He's going melee carapace, cancels them, starts them again. That was interesting. Don't see that every day. 77 workers for Zerg, 66 for Terran, but Terran has a 4th base going up. I think this is definitely playable for MARU, but it does feel like Serral's creep spread is just so incredible on this right side. And it's getting slowed down on the left, but not so massively. You're going to see queens just constantly going back out there to respread that. And Serral actually only has 5 queens, which is really cool because that means more supply for drones and army. He's gotten away with a low queen count, and he's got 2 Vipers, which gives him some anti-air at least, some parasitic bomb and whatnot. Ghost Academy's on the way, as well as an 8th barracks for MARU. MARU's still way down in supply, though. Alright, those 16 Marines get picked up. Banshee does hit that Zergling. I mean, we saw it in the Clem series and some of Serral's other series that he's adding so many clever details to his play recently that it seems like you're watching a Cats or some sort of really creative player, you know, like a really weird creative Zerg mixed with just rock solid macro. That's why Serral's such a beast right now, man. No parasitic bombs on those medevacs. That's kind of peculiar that Serral just immediately runs to the left side of the map. He's not leaving anything there. Okay. Oh, if he loses this hatchery, that's a bit silly. No, scares it away. Serral's not splitting his army right now. What's he doing? Okay, there we go. He's got a Packling Bane to defend the drop. The rest of his army wants to go kill the 4th. The tanks aren't protecting it right now. MARU's 4th is looking kind of undefended. There's a Banshee and a tank up there. that planetary could get busted. Serral could get in, kill the planetary, and run away very easily. And I think he's realizing if he does that right now, he's got such a money advantage. He can make life very difficult for MARU. The Queenling Bane dealing with this. Serral's ready to pounce on the other side of the map. The tanks are not defending this fourth base. If it was an orbital, this would be fine for MARU. He could just lift it up and leave. But look, Serral's not even using Banelings to kill the planetary. He lets the other units blow up on it. The Banelings just go into the mineral line to make sure there's no repair. Gets in, kills the planetary, gets out. MARU has more command centers building, but he is behind the curve in this game, and those triple upgrades are going. +2 melee, +2 range, and +2 carapace is about to finish. +2 melee just started, of course. 4 command centers building for MARU, but MARU needs time. He needs a little bit here, and he's trying to not build depots. He's trying to be super efficient and use command centers as depots to be like hyper efficient, whereas a lot of players get to 200 supply, and then they build all these command centers that don't really get the supply value. Lingbane Ravager coming in from the right side. Lovely blinding cloud there. The Vipers just dodged the EMP. He just dodged 2 EMPs there. The Vipers come back and get another blinding cloud. Oh my, and another blinding cloud as well. What the hell? Okay, the Banelings do chase a bit too far on there, but what, the Roaches come in from the left and kill all the tanks as well. I don't think he even has cloak yet for these ghosts. He doesn't, which means the Lings and the Roaches jumping on top, and Serral just too far ahead from earlier in this game. He had the numbers, not too much MARU could do. That was just a genius opening from Serral. Okay, so check this out, guys. 4 minutes 30, he scouts, he sees Banshee with no cloak. And Serral's like, oh, you're going cloakless Banshee? And he had this play up his sleeve. I don't know if he was thinking of doing it already. Maybe it was already planned and it was the perfect situation for it, because he's like, hey, you died to my Roach Bush last time. You're probably going to build Banshees to stop it. I'm just going to drop creep in the middle, walk 2 Queens across the map, and I'm going to hit you with like 11 Roaches with Roach speed, morph a few into Ravagers. 2 Queens and 11 Roaches is not that scary at 5 minutes, but this looks so scary because the Banshee can't do anything against the Queens. You know Roach speed's done. I mean, your barracks are exposed at the front. He has to lift his barracks, build multiple bunkers. This delayed his 1-1 massively because he's building tanks, and he's also building 2 medevacs at a time. So MARU's build is already a little bit misaligned. And yeah, and behind it, because you've got those hatcheries injecting so early, you're just like, oh, by the way, the third does drone a bit later than normal, sure. But once he starts droning, he just like drones it, takes a 4th, amazing macro fault. But think about it, you're losing 2 barracks production. Those are your only 2 barracks right now. And this is the thing, is there's so much to be gained just by denying those barracks. This is one of the big problems with the low ground barracks build, is over the years, why has this build not been popular? Low ground wall-offs. It's because there's too many things that can get your production too easily. Whereas if your production's up in your main, it's much safer. And this build Serral's doing is really punishing MARU. MARU cannot keep playing 2-Rax Reaper like this. He has to go back to high ground build orders or figure something out that allows him to be safe against this. Alright guys, Serral with a nice game 1 build goes into game 2 with a standard 16 hatchery build. So changing it up, I always like that. And you know what? He's already scared MARU off the low ground Barracks Reaper wall off into a more old school standard 1-Rax on the high ground. So this is clever kind of game to game play by Serral. I don't think he likes playing the 16 hatchery as much against the 2-Rax Reaper. And with good reason. Like that Roach opening, I think is just amazing at shutting down these Reaper openings. But Serral, he's just going to go gas and pool behind this. Very standard stuff. And let's see, is MARU going to SCV scout? I don't think he needs to. So yeah, it looks like he's just going to skip the SCV scout, use this guy to build the command center, save a bit of minerals, be a bit more efficient, and wait for that Reaper to scout what's going on the other side of the map. Serral has been so Roach focused lately. I do worry a little bit that his Ling Bane play may suffer, right? I mean, he's had some amazing Ling Bane games recently, but there's like this voice in my head that's like, oh, he's going to get too reliant on playing Roaches and he's going to become bad with Ling Bane, which is kind of this thing that's happened to Dark recently. But I almost feel like it's not that Dark got worse with Ling Bane. It's just that his openings are a bit sloppy and the Terrans have learnt how to punish it a little bit harder. Like they're hitting really sharp timings when they play Dark. You can see like beyond MARU, they're very often cutting SCVs to like hit him with a very hard timing. And not too many players doing that sort of stuff against Serral just yet. Serral's going to go for the triangular third base there. This is an advanced clash opening, but with a very quick Ling speed, interestingly. I guess because he doesn't know if it's 2-Rax Reaper or not. So he sped up the Ling speed a little bit. And that third base should be going down right now. Very nice. Good micro so far by Serral. okay. Creep tumor in a very safe location. Nicely done. What's good about this creep tumor is that's going to reach down there, so we can still spread it towards his third, I think, very quickly. And then the next one he can spread like here and off to the right side. Third command center goes down for MARU, just playing very straight up so far. 3cc into the Hellions. And expect a starport and a second gas is the standard next step, but occasionally you'll see a second barracks, and that's what we're seeing. So we'll see a tech lab, and then the second barracks will lift onto this reactor after 4 Hellions. Just straight up bio, 3cc into bio. Sorry guys, I had a hair stuck on my face. You guys ever have that if you're like wearing glasses and somehow there's like a giant hair that's like in between your glasses and your eye, and you're like, I don't know how that got there. Just pulled that to the side. Overlord does poke in, sees the second barracks. Great scout for Serral. So he knows what he's up against. Sometimes you play single Evo to get a quick carapace against this, but I don't think you really need to. I think you know it's 3 command center from the timing of all that. You know it's just going to be light Hellion pressure, and most importantly, you can skip Spore Crawlers because there's no starport with this build until a little bit later. So the way it works is this factory builds, another starport goes there, factory builds a reactor, and then the starport swaps over to join up with the 2 barracks marine production. So this is a 2-1-1, 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. But because he squeezed a third command center in first, it's doing the big economic version of it with a third command center up very early. Serral should be droning super hard for a little bit longer. And he is going to do the single Evo chamber for the fast carapace. The reason is, you know you're going to be dealing with a lot of marines early. If you can give your queens an extra armor, they become 2 armor. Severely reduces the impact of that double marine drop. Aliens do find a drone. They don't want to go too deep though. Notice how Serral spread his Zerglings out, so if the Hellions run in, they'll get surrounded. Hellions do splash damage in a straight line with their flamethrower, so if you line up, you're clumped up, Lings get roasted. If they come in with a big spread on creep, the Hellions feel useless. Second Evo chamber goes down for Serral, along with a second gas. It's up on 49 drones versus 40 SCVs. He sees the third base moving out. Already 3 mineral lines completely full of workers. That's what's really nice. Serral's got the mineral income just absolutely soaring. Third barracks goes down. You don't want to keep building medevacs. You want 2 medevacs, and then you want to swap the starport off and start building more reactors. So he's going to use that barracks for that reactor for a third barracks. Reaper does get picked off by the queens. Neither side making any big plays just yet. The fact that it's double upgrades before lair, this delays baneling speed a lot. So if there's a quick tank push with 1 or 2 siege tanks, it will be hard for Serral to deal with. SEV is in the open. Serral with just a small Ling backstab gets in there, and the Hellions will have to be rerouted to defend that base. Lings could walk in. Luckily for MARU, the SCVs are building on the inside of that wall off, and the Zerglings back off for Serral. Double drop on the right side. Queens have 1 transfuse, 2 transfuses, 3 transfuses available, with a 4th and a 5th one coming in the next 10 seconds. That's a lot of healing available, and you'll probably just replace a few of these tumors, just making sure MARU doesn't get the snipes on them straight away. So he waits a few seconds for the scan to run out, and then he drops those back down. Oh, the Lings go back in. They get another SCV. Dude, Serral with his little 4-Ling backstab squad does eventually get it cleaned up, but he's been so annoying with it. His 4th base is secured. Lair is on the way. I believe the Baneling Nest just finished building in behind the natural. He's up on 3 gases right now. Only 3 gases. This is a very heavy mineral play. Serral is playing Massling Bane. He is looking to swarm MARU with more Zerglings than you've ever seen, guys. He's going to blot out the sun with these Zerglings. It's going to be like... MARU's going to be like the 300 Spartans. And Serral's going to play Persian mass arrow style, okay? Like, it's a crazy amount of mineral income, very little gas. He won't be able to make a lot of Banelings. Like, all of his gas is basically spent just making +2 carapace and Baneling speed. And he'll have like 8 Banelings when the fight happens. It's going to be just so many Zerglings. There's going to be a flank, though, almost always. And very little room for MARU to micro. Ling's getting a bit of a surround. 1 or 2 good volleys. They get quite a few Zerglings. Good micro by MARU. I would have killed like 2 Zerglings. I always am amazed by top Terran's ability to figure out where to target the Zerglings, which ones to focus fire to get those maximum shots off. Because I try to click in the center of the Zerglings, which is what it seems like would work. And I always end up killing like 1 Zergling, and the rest just get damaged and survive. And I see MARU do it with like 3 Hellions, and he kills 13 Zerglings in 1 volley, and I'm like, man, I don't know. It's okay. I live in Australia. I can just blame ping, guys. Don't worry. Just like those fanboys making excuses for their favorite pros when they lose online tournaments, I also have excuses in my back pocket. Fourth gas is going down. There's still not many banelings, but man, 82 zerglings and 8 banelings out. Serral's also got a sandwich on the right side. So if you come in with tanks, he's like, I have 2 massive packs of Ling Bane. And 76 drones might not seem that high, but you got to realize when you're not mining that much gas, he's mining 3,500 minerals a minute right now. Serral's mineral income is wild. Like if he goes to 90 drones, that means he has 5 bases fully saturated on minerals, which essentially means that he can make hundreds of zerglings a minute, like hundreds of zerglings. It will get disgusting. Another gas goes down, so he is starting to go up to 4 or 5 gases now. But yeah, he's gonna max on zerglings with like a decent baneling count. And MARU, I think he's making the right call of not pushing. He's also starting to make Widow Mines, which is good. But I almost feel like Serral could just shove him. Like if Serral just does a giant flood on the 3rd and the 4th right now, I don't know if MARU has the numbers to defend. He's down 30 army supply. It is a massive army of zerglings, and Serral's ahead on the upgrades by about 40 seconds. Oh my lord! Well, guess what? You have more units. That's more targets for the Widow Mine. 24 kill Widow Mine shot. MARU says, just need a few more of those, and your numbers are nothing. That Widow Mine decides to shoot down his own medevac, joins forces with the Queens. That's what we call a damn traitor mine, that one. The East drop is going to find the triangle here. High ground, low ground, left ground. 3 points that you can attack with that. Barely gets those double medevac drops out. Serral's creep spread is fantastic. Liberator on the left side. Great move here by MARU. Starting to apply some pressure. Serral's got 2-2. MARU's still a few seconds away. He's just going to shove. He's just going to shove. Serral realizes MARU's out of position. He's YOLOing right now. Serral with a crazy move, and he drags the Widow Mines all over MARU's army. MARU comes in with a drop, but the Queen's defending on the left. The double drop on the right is not doing anything. Serral literally just shoves 1,000 zerglings down MARU's throat, and MARU gets absolutely annihilated. It's a beautiful 2-2 timing. Remember, Dark ruined MARU at the start of last year in their Valencia Grand Finals. He got 2 wins in a row doing this very similar strategy of just YOLOing with mass lings just before MARU's upgrades finished. It's a great way of swarming because those Terrans, they put so many Marines on the map in their medevacs, they don't have enough support at home. A lot of their Widow Mines and Marines are on the map trying to be aggressive, and that was such a decisive shove for Serral. He gets rid of the 3rd, makes it lift. He gets 30 SCV kills. He kills all the supply depots as well. MARU is in the doo-doo right now. It's one Liberator doing a great job, but Serral's still up on 74 workers. Those drones, he does the pro gamer pull. So the pro gamer pull, I see a lot of low-level players do this. It's where rather than just pulling the workers off minerals and then sending them back when the Liberator's done, you just click all the drones on one mineral patch. So they dodge the Liberator for 2 seconds, and then they go back in and all start dying. There is nothing funnier to me than watching a Platinum player do that repeatedly. And I'm like, you know you can just grab the drones and click them here, right, guys? Or even shift click them here and then cue them to go back to minerals straight away. But like, it's bad enough when I see pros doing it because I'm like, this is kind of like, unless you know you've got an anti-air unit about to kill it, even pros, I'm like, this is not the optimal way of defending this. But then because pros do it so much, low-level players always copy what pros do. And I'm like, please stop doing it. It hurts, guys. The Widow Mine. Oh, big juicy. Good targeting. Got 4 drones there, but not as big a juicy as he'd like. MARU. The supply is surprisingly close. I mean, Serral did throw away a lot of Ling Bane to make that last big attack work. His hive's not done yet as well. MARU's actually got the supply reasonably even, especially in army supply, and he kept his 4th up during it all. Remember, that's one thing I should have pointed out. Even though his 3rd was lifted, the 4th was not. So Overseer does have gooping energy. I'd love to see it maybe goop the starport as the medevac count is not that high. Already 4 medevacs have gone down this game. Mass biomine coming down the left side, but there's no medevacs. There's no medevacs with that biomine. Okay, he splits 2 medevacs there from the middle of the map. But look at this, Ling's coming on the backside as well. Ling Bane rolls over, he picks up, he's gonna go for the drippy droppy. Widow Mine's clumped, Serral just detonates 5 Banelings for 5 Widow Mines, an amazing trade for him. And he swarms over, not enough units, enough medevac space to pick him up. Oh, and MARU's dropping the top. It actually gets, one of them gets shot down by Queen Spore. His 3rd has been lifted. He can't deal with it. He's desperate to pull Serral's attention away. But Serral's Queens are jumping on top here, and they've got transfuse for days. They push back those medevacs. The Marines and Marauders are left out on their own. And look at that. He comes out trying to defend it, but the Ling Bane actually in the numbers enough to take it out. This drop comes back in there. Maru gets 8 worker kills, 12 worker kills. He's actually starting to find some real worker damage. And Serral holds down the drone key, builds 23 workers, and says, nah, mate. That's a nah, mate, if I've ever seen one from Serral. Oh, you think you finally found the mark by killing 17 drones? Mate, you've lost way too many units. I just rebuilt 23 drones back to 80 workers immediately. You're causing a bit of chaos. You're not finding the big juicy damage that you need for this sort of commitment. And Serral here just playing a fantastic low gas swarming style. I'd always theorized that a super low gas style was very good for making comebacks. And I remember the first time I saw a top pro player do it in a tournament, it was on Cyberforest. Rogue played a 90 worker style off 3 gases, and he had more lings than I've ever seen in my entire life. And Innovation just got swarmed, and it didn't even look close. And it was much like this game, because it's such a surprising style. Terrans aren't used to Zergs doing this. Normally they're making Hydras and more Banelings and more gases, but when they commit to that low gas count, there are so many Zerglings, you need to be extra careful with your positioning. Yeah. So at this point, Serral recognizes some sort of pattern at some point here, right, guys? He's like, there's a drop there, there's a double drop there, and there's a triple drop here. And Serral, it kind of dawns on him at some moment here that he's like, you're being really annoying with these drops, but a lot of your units are on the map. I don't even know if he knows about that triple drop still being on the map, but he definitely spotted it earlier, and he just shoves. And there's just no bio at home. Guys, what deals with mass Zergling? A big ball of Marines. If you have some Hellbats, some Widow Mines, that's great, but you need a big ball of Marines. Guess what? He has 40 Marines. 13 of them there. So he has 27 Marines. 16 here, 11. So he has 11 Marines. These are, every Marine that he has that's not on the map in a drop is here. And the problem is, if you don't have enough Marines to gun down those Zerglings, well, they're just going to run on top. Tanks aren't going to deal with them. And even though the Widow Mines get a few decent shots, they kill a lot of Zerglings. It's not a pretty fight. But there's just not enough at home to defend. And Serral, on the other hand, has both Mass Queen, and he's still building like 50, 60 lings at a time. I do wonder, should these Marines have stimmed in and gone after this base? Because what if he does get on top, starts killing these units, and what if this drop didn't lose the medevacs and he picks up and pulls back to the left? Because Serral's not dealing with the Widow Mine in his main. All he's got is Queens in production. Like, this is a crazy move for Serral. So I've got to wonder if those Marines run on top, start killing all the drones and overlords, this Marine drop moves into the main, potentially could have punished Serral for this. But I think he was very surprised by what Serral did, and Serral just swarmed over him, got in there and did the cray-cray damage, and that just put him way ahead from there. Really well played. Really surprising move. Maru did not expect that. All right, guys, going into game 3, Serral's gone back to his 15 hatch, 15 pool. Maru still doing the high ground wall off, but he sent an SCV this time. Does see the hatcheries finished, and it's a Reaper plus an SCV blocking the third. But he should know, because that creep was so far out already, that that's an early 15 hatch, and there is no third base. I think he's just checking because Dark does a gasless hatchery build on this map, so he's kind of checking that isn't the case. And it looks like Maru's going to play 3 command center again. And it's so interesting because I did a bit of post-game analysis in that last game. Not only did Serral hit a 1-1 versus 2-2 timing, Maru actually could have done a lot more damage. He had a lot of Marines on the other side of the map, but he lost the medevacs. Like he had medevacs and Marines in Serral's third. If he picked those up and dropped Serral's main, Serral had no units at home except the Queens in his third. He also had another drop that could have dived on Serral's fourth and killed a lot of drones. I think he would have still been able to hold his production and his fourth base at home behind it. So I think Maru actually needed to shove in to punish Serral, or if he realized it was that low gas style, he should have grouped his entire army together. The problem with Widow Mines is they're most effective when they are supported by a massive bio. If you have a big ball of Marines, you kill the Zerglings so quickly that your Widow Mines can afford to retarget on the Banelings or the really giant clumps of Zerglings coming in from behind. Because Maru only had 11 Marines at home and the rest of his 30 Marines on the map were on the other side of the map, his Widow Mines just didn't do what they were meant to. And that's something you got to be careful of as a Terran, is those Widow Mines are abusable. Serral's playing that Roach Warren into 3 gas play that we know so well. Viking coming out here for Maru. No low ground wall off, which is quite good versus the Roach Ravager. I think you might want to skip that entirely. Maybe just build a bunker up front and wall off much later in the game. Massive thanks to Einstein, dude. Plain Smoothie, those in the chat. Really appreciate the support, guys. Second barracks is there. Okay, 3 roaches coming out. Serral doesn't have an overlord in the middle for that creep queen push that we saw previously. I imagine he's not going to use that twice in one series. That's interesting. A single Evo. Does take the 3rd down here. I don't know if Maru saw that. Maru hasn't seen it, so Maru's probably like, what is going on? Are you going to try to push me? He's got a factory on a tech lab very early, but he doesn't have the gas to actually build a siege tank just yet. So I feel like Maru's build is a little bit more intuitive rather than super refined, but you can see he feels like he just needs to make tanks very early against Serral's build. And Serral, if he can scare him with 3 roaches and get a big reaction, that's going to be amazing because he's already got an infestation pit. Now, I don't know if that's for a hive. We know Serral loves to go quick hive, lurker, viper, or just lurker push, not even vipers on this map. But I think it's probably just a few infestors. I think if he can get a few infestors, he knows he can basically just be kind of greedy, and if there's a big bio push, he can fungal it down. Serral did see the 3rd command center at least, so he knows this is an economic game. He's up to 56 workers versus 44. 3rd base is getting there. Remember, this says out of 20, guys. That's just because these minerals are so close that it screws up. It's still just an 8 mineral patch base. 16 workers is still all you really want there. You can go a little bit higher if you have a few more drones, but 16 is optimal. Carapace is on the way. Quick hive. It is quick hive. Okay. And ling speed. Man, what is he going to do with this? It doesn't... There's no Hydroden, which means he won't be able to start a Lurkinen straight away. But he does take the rich gas base. I think we're going to see a Hydroden any second now. Serral... I got to get in Serral's head, because Serral has come out of this series swinging with builds planned to counter Maru. None of these builds has been standard. So many Zergs play defensive. They play reactive. Serral is a master of planning. He's giving me rogue vibes recently, where he's coming out with these weird builds that are so hard for the opponents to deal with, and I feel like he's winning games just before the game even starts off his strategy. It is such a fantastic execution that he's doing of like, hey, look, here's a weird roach push. Oh, by the way, here's a roach queen push. Oh, it's a fake out. Ha, I'm teching up. You know, let's go for this crazy 3 gas mass Ling style. There's nothing standard here, and Maru is going to be paranoid about what the hell is going on in this game. So we've got a 2nd Evo and a hive. Wait, is he just playing? No way! Is he going to do a roach tank or a roach viper all in just to harpoon and blinding cloud the tanks? No, okay, it's Viper Ultra. Okay, he's going to play Viper Ultra. So he's got 16 roaches, 18 roaches with roach speed out to make it look like mass roach, and then he's just going to play super quick ultras. Now he starts +1 melee, +2 carapace, adrenal glands, ultraling viper. It's a banelingless style, guys. It's no banelings. I kind of wish there was a few infestors in here as well. But dude, he's going to have ultras popping at like 8 minutes maybe? He might have his first ultras just after 8 minutes. This is very, very fast. Serral is playing a dirty build, man. That's what I love about Serral recently. He's just... The last few years, people... like, I really do feel Serral does not look unstoppable mechanically. He kind of did in 2018. I don't think he's got that aura of I can just beat you playing standard. It doesn't matter, though, if you're this good at planning and reinventing yourself every other week. He's always got new builds. He doesn't spam those weekly cups like a lot of players, just playing the game by feel and trying to win with mechanics and standard play. It's always about trying to bring a new style. And I think this is very difficult to deal with. You know, you're playing Biotank. Vipers counter tanks very well. The Ultras are going to come out with such a quick +2 carapace chitinous plating, and Maru's forgotten his 2-2, guys. Oh god, he doesn't have an armory. Maru cannot be affording mistakes like this, but he's having such a hard time reading Serral. You can tell it's taking him out of his element. So his 2-2 is going to be so late. Wait, is he on 8 racks? Oh, he's doing an 8 racks. He's got 8 racks, 3 more tech labs built. So he's trying to do a big all-in. This is normally a pretty good build. This could work. Actually, the Ultras are only just popping now. Serral has to give up this front base. That Viper needs a transfuse. He's got to touch her up. I always assume Vipers are she's. I don't know why. Here we go. Okay. The drone's going to try and pull those overlords. Need to pull back. Serral needs to flank. Okay, yeah, because he's got these minerals down. He can come from the left. If he gets this Ultra Ling flank on the left and up the middle, I think he can hold. He doesn't have much transfuse. Maru's got a crazy army right now. But if +2 carapace and chitinous plating finish, I think he might be screwed. Serral goes in with chitinous plating. He doesn't wait for +2 carapace. There we go. It just kicked in a few seconds. It's not there yet. Blinding Cloud is killer on the tanks. The Ultra from the top right as well did a lot. +2 carapace was not here, which is unfortunate, but the ultras are still very hard for MARU to deal with. It's a very close game right now. Oh, big piles landing on the medevacs. Serral has to pull back. Okay, this might actually be good enough for MARU. Maybe the supply looks good for Serral, but MARU maintains position there. He's not on top of Serral's economy yet, but Serral's only on 73 workers, 3 base. MARU could actually pull back if he wants to. There's 5 more ultras on the way. When those pop, they're also going to have the move speed upgrade, which speeds them up off creep. 5 drones get picked off. Nice moves. The Queens get some damage, though. Viper does not have any energy, unfortunately, for Serral. Oh, he does have enough just for it of ducked. He pulls the tank there. The ultras aren't quite here yet. The Roach Ravager kind of getting jumped on, but man, if those ultras connect, they do so much. That ultra on the left pulled back. I love Serral's ultra micro. Very rare to actually micro weak ultras. Most players don't do it. Serral on point. His Viper's grabbing more energy right now. I said only on 73 workers, but of course it was more that they were only on 3 base. So it's a good worker count for Serral compared to 62 of Terran, but you know, he doesn't have a 4th mining. He's just transferring workers to this new 4th after giving up the rich gas base. Liberator's going to siege it and deny that mining. They're on equal mining right now, maybe a little higher for MARU, though he's using a lot of energy on scans. He's got to get out of here. He's going to try and take out these ultras. He gets 1, he gets 2. Good focus fire and a pullback. Watch out for the bomb. Good pull away. And he does negate the parasitic bomb. But remember, no 4th command center for MARU. MARU swapping another barracks onto a tech lab and a factory onto a reactor. He's decided Widow Mines for the Lings, more Marauders for the Ultras. Smart switch up for MARU. That Marauder is trapped behind that little bit of debris there. More Ultras on the way. +2 melee, +3 carapace. Serral feels like he's got the space to do that. If he could get out a few infestors, that would supercharge the power of these Ultras right now. I really feel that Ultras are the best unit in the game when they're combined with good fungals, good blinding clouds, that sort of stuff. Not the best unit in the game, but they are their best form. I feel like there's a supercharge to their power, you know? You can absolutely just push everything else forward if you can get that boosted up. He's still got a big swarm, though. And is there enough medevac space? Saves most of the units. Good play by MARU. Oh, Maru's going to 2-prong this. He says, you don't have much anti-air, do you? There's 5 Queens, 1 Viper. That's all that shoots up. He's going to quad drop the right while trying to come in on the left as well. Got to be careful. The Widow Mine's taking out a few of these Zerglings. Nice Widow Mine hits. Quad drop on the right. Does get hit by a parasitic bomb. Queens with a good spready as well. Maru's got to be careful about that. That parasitic bomb did a lot of damage to those medevacs. The Vipers will eventually get rid of those. Bioarmy moving down the left side. The 2-2 being so late was such a problem for MARU. It's finally about to kick in. Here we go. Lings do try to run forward. They could actually get a lot of damage done on that base. And Maru's not watching right now. Ultra Ravager on the right side does defend that drop. On the left, he snipes a hatchery. MARU just chomping at the bit to get damage. But oh god, the Ultras are getting on top right now. He wasn't watching because those Lings were distracting him at home. He finally defends, but he loses 11 SCVs. That drop gets taken out as well. MARU desperately trying to do a bit more than he can handle with these drops. And that Ling backstab was just enough from Serral to distract MARU so he couldn't keep up with microing all 3 scenarios at once. We've got 11 medevacs, 15 Marauders, 11 Marines, and 8 mines. Maru's trying to hang on, trying to get that 4th out. But there's a Zergling blocking the base. And with 2-3 upgrades almost here, it feels like a good spot for Serral. Parasitic Bomb's going to be deadly. Oh, great Parasitic Bomb right in the middle. MARU does spread it pretty quickly. Good pullback. I don't think Serral can commit into this choke point, can he? There's just not enough firepower. The Widow Mine sets off on an Overseer, I believe that was. Friendly fires massively in the process. There's just too much Zerg. There's not enough Terran, not enough firepower. And Serral bringing out the build orders 3 games in a row. Not a single one was standard. Serral playing brand new styles of Zerg versus Terran that I imagine a few months from now, we're going to be seeing all the Zergs playing these builds. That is awesome strategy from Serral. And he comes out with a walloping 3-0.